All right, Legacy Life, what is happening? What is going on? I hope you guys are having an amazing Monday, and I hope you guys had a great weekend. Um, I guess it's a holiday, Marcus, but I mean, we're still putting in work. That's just what we do.
We
But
do.
thank right, but thank you guys all for jumping on. We appreciate your time. Just to throw some stuff out there really quick. I know our group is used to having our Monday calls at 7. All right. Every night, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. But we are changing that up as of today. So going forward, every Monday call that we are going to have, team call, is going to be at this time, 11 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And today is the first one. And I have the pleasure to bring in someone that I respect very much. Real quick, before we get to that, for those of you guys that don't know me, David Fleming, been in the business for about 2.5 years. And man, this business is the blessing. I've learned so much about insurance, financial services, but not only that, but more about myself also. Becoming a leader, being around people like the person I'm about to bring up. And what's crazy is that I grew up in Aurora, Colorado. That's where I grew up. I now live in Centennial, which is a little bit down south, but I went to a school called Overland High School, and happened so that Marcus, the guy that we have on this call, me and him, we went to the same high school. He was a grade two above me, I believe, because I graduated in '03. But I in high school we didn't really talk much. He was older, and but I recognized him because he was a football star, and he was kind of like a social person, one of the popular kids, I would say. And I wasn't. I was quiet. I always hung out with the little Hispanic kids and everything. So, but anyways, and next thing you know, I joined the military, get out of high school, become an entrepreneur. And actually, as an entrepreneur in the last business that I was in, I tried repeatedly to get this man attention. Even like there was times where he would probably just look at my message and just be like, huh, pish posh, pish posh. I don't need that. And but we were just so like, we were so zoomed into the business that we were doing. He was never disrespectful or rude about it, but I know that he was now being in this business, that he was growing in this business right now, and now is having the success that he has because he was just so laser focused in building his organization. And come to find out, once we finished that travel venture that we were in, I was kind of in a place where I was like, all right, what do I do now? I'm kind of lost a little bit, doing some Uber, Lyft, DoorDash. And I remember talking to Nick. Me and Mike met up with Nick. Went to a restaurant, and it's funny because at the restaurant, Nick was doing the thing that Marcus is going to train on in front of us. Nick was actually doing a live dial session, and we weren't in the business yet. So then I started asking him questions like, "Hey, man, this insurance stuff, like, do they have people in Denver doing this?" He's like, "Yeah, they do." And I was like, "Well, who's the top dog, man? Who's like the guy that that's killing the game here?" He said, "Oh, it's this guy named Marcus Richardson." And I was like, "Marcus Richardson? He got a beard? Yeah. He live in Aurora? Yeah. Okay." I looked him up on Facebook. Like, is this him? He's like, "Yup, that's him." I'm like, "Oh my God." So like everything came back together. And next thing you know, I connected with Marcus. I shot him a message, and he welcomed me into the group. I went to one of the meetings, and Marcus is just a humble leader. He's one of the top dogs in the company. And what's crazy is, he's going to be teaching us something that he got really good at in the beginning. He's teaching this not only to us, but he goes on stage and trains this topic in front of thousands of people. If you guys have Some of you guys have seen him train on this topic. And I want to point one thing out, because a lot of us in the previous business, we were with Marcus Seta, who was our director of training, and he's now director of trainer here with the Alliance. But he probably gave Marcus like one of the best compliments that I've ever heard him say, because Marcus, when he's up there, man, that guy is powerful. That guy has some passion. That guy has some direction with his voice. Like, he knows what he's talking about, and he does it so well. Marcus said that we have one of the best. He said that he was one of the best speakers that he's ever seen on stage. And I'm telling you right now, we have him on the call. Very humble for him to be here because he has no financial benefit from anyone in our group. He's just that type of person. He has your back. And I always see him at the gym, and he always has my back. Sometimes I'm scared to work out with him. But ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Marcus Richardson. Marcus, you there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm here. Am I coming through loud and clear?
Loud and clear, brother. Thank you for jumping on the call. And I know you got a lot of things going on, building your own business, organization. And so I appreciate you being on this call, man.
Thank you for having me, man. It's always an honor, always an honor to serve. And, when we get asked to do what we do, it's like if I'd have thought 12 years ago I'd be teaching this stuff, I was like, no way. It was brutal when I first got started. So now that I'm teaching it, it just goes to show if you don't quit, right? The three things Marcus says: don't quit, get excited, and
Pay attention.
pay attention, right? Then there's nothing that you can't do. So thank you again for having me. It's an honor to serve you guys, serve Nick and Mike and you, and kind of watching y'all's growth has been good for me because it's always like, how when you see new growth come in, like, you're like, oh, okay, got it. Yeah, right. It can be done, right?
Right.
And so I'm glad you guys are killing it like you're killing it because it motivates me to get after it.
Awesome. Appreciate it, brother. And, same goes to you because since we started, man, it's always been like, you've always been that type of person, very humble, always willing to help, and like I said, there's no financial benefit from you helping us, but you're just that type of guy. So I appreciate it. So, for those of you guys that are new, I know some of you guys are veterans in the game. You guys been in around for a little bit. You have heard Marcus' story, but real quick, Marcus, can you kind of just let everyone know who you are, your background, just really quick before we dive into the nuts and bolts. And how did you get started in this business?
Yeah, so Marcus Richardson, my wife and I, Carla, we have been with Andy for 12 years, been in insurance 13 years. So I found the alliance, my stepmom actually, and my dad. We were working at another insurance place before this. It was not a good fit. They told me about it, and the way my dad pitched it to me is he said, "Hey, son, if you could do the same thing you're doing now, work less and make more money, would you be interested?" I said, "Yeah, Dad. Like, what program is that? Where do I sign up at?" So I was turned on to the alliance, saw the lead, saw a presentation, and that's when I fell in love because I know, I've been doing sales for a long time, actually since I was 17 years old. Pretty much that's all I've done is sales. And so when I saw that they had leads and it wasn't like call all your friends and family, it wasn't, hit everybody up on Facebook and social media. And I'm not against that, but I knew that people filled out a request, sent it in. It made life a lot simpler because then I could spend my time doing what I was good at, which was selling. So that was 12 years ago when I saw that. Flew down to Dallas, Texas, and met Andy on a he called me on Wednesday, literally the same week. I went down to meet him on that Friday. I had a little bit of money on a credit card. I put it on the credit card, and it was the best decision, one of the best decisions I've made because it literally has changed my life. And it's been such a blessing for Carl and I because when we found the alliance, we were just in a bad situation financially, food stamps, state assistance. It was a bad, bad, bad situation. So it has been quite the ride over the last 12 years.
Nice, nice. And one thing that I learned in our entrepreneur journey is, if you want what someone has, listen to that person. And if you apply what they teach you, then you'll get those same results. And so, real quick, Marcus, producer, we're going to get to the nuts and bolts about dialing because that's why we got you here to teach us about that. But what did your year look like last year as far as production?
We were fourth in the company overall in the Alliance personal production. I think we finished with like 289 applications, and I want to say it was right under 440. It might have been like 438 because I think Janina had like 449 or something like that, and I was, she was third and I was fourth.
Wow, that's amazing, brother. Fourth in the company, 12 years in. And one of the things that I noticed, just since being in for the last, couple years, is that every time there's a training that we do where we want someone to train specifically on dialing, it seems like you're the guy, bro. You're one of the top trainers when it comes to that. So let's get to that, brother. Let's get to that really quick. And start covering that. We're going to talk about mindset with dialing, but before that, what type of leads are you currently getting? What have you worked in the past? And what is your budget and how important is that to those people listening wanting to make a full-time income, six-figure income like yourself?
Yeah, so when it comes to leads and budget, I would definitely. So I'm gonna do my disclaimer, okay? I'm going to tell you what we're doing and what I did, but then I'm also going to tell you to check with your upline because everybody's situation is different. So whoever your manager is that's mentoring you, you want to check with them on regards to leads and kind of what their preference is. But when I first started, my manager was giving me some free leads. So I was working on the free lead program from Andy is my manager. So that helped out. And then Robbie sat me down and said, bro, your numbers are about as good as everybody else's. You just are not getting quality leads. Like you're getting all the older leads. So you need to, invest some money and get some of these newer leads. So went in, made an investment for like $760. Like it was a big investment from going from zero to 700 is a big deal. And so that week we got the leads and we ended up writing $7,000 of premium for a $700 investment. And for people who are brand new, if you're listening to this call, that's about what it should be. So for every $100 you spend in leads, you should write $1,000 of annual premium. And I don't care if it's now they've changed a little bit, but I don't care if it's an A lead, a B lead, a C lead, a D lead, right? If you say, hey, I can invest $100 this week in leads, then you should write $1,000 of premium for whatever 100 you spend in leads. The second thing is make sure you have a budget set aside so you're not eating your seed, right? Because you can get a commission check, and then if you go out and spend it, and it's $1,000 commission check, you don't have another 100 to invest in leads. So make sure you always set aside money off the top to be able to still run your business, your personal production for leads. So that's what I would say there. I do recommend, like, if a person has money, I would recommend starting anywhere from 250 to 500 a week in a lead investment, just because that's about what it takes in order to write the volume and premium that you need to continue your business going. So 250 to 500 is kind of what we recommend, what we try to get our people started on. But you got to have something set aside that you can commit to every single week. Lead investment, cost of goods, however you want to look at that. You're running a business. There's goods that have to be bought, and then you're the person that sells it or your team. So you got to have a cost of goods factored in to your business expense when you're running your business.
And I love that you said that, bro, because so many people come into this with a different mindset, and we'll get to that in a minute. And I love what you said, because if you treat this like a business, obviously it's going to pay you like a business. But if you treat it like a hobby, it's going to pay you like a hobby. And last time I checked, I don't know if you know this or not, but hobbies don't pay that much, right? So treat it like a business, guys. This is what Marcus said was spot on. Now let's get to the mindset, Marcus, because there's a lot of new agents. It's a new year. We're all planning on having a big year. It's February, but I've seen you talk about mindset when it comes to dialing. Can you just dive into that real quick? Because I feel like you're just the boss at teaching that.
Can y'all? Uh,
Can
did
you hear
my
me now?
internet freeze?
Yeah, you're
I
coming
can
in
hear
now.
you now. I can hear you now.
Okay, did it get cut off?
It did for a little bit, but I'm good now.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, if you could just dive into the mindset when it comes to dialing, how did it start for you at first, and now that you're just so good at it, it's natural to you, I feel like. Can you just talk about that? And then once you talk about that a little bit, we'll go into like the script and then go over some objections and stuff.
Absolutely. Thank you. So the mindset really, when you're dialing, understanding the purpose, right? The purpose is why you're doing what you're doing. And so when you first come to the phones or you're making phone calls, the first thing you got to understand, the only purpose of me making this phone call is to set up an appointment. I'm not calling to try to sell you something right this second. I'm not trying to call, unless you are doing like social media leads and you are doing like right now appointments, but I'm not training for that specifically. So when you're on the phones and you're sitting down, understand that, hey, I'm making this call so I can set an appointment to see somebody within 24 to 48 hours of me making this initial phone call. So that's the mindset. Second thing is, I say this to myself: people like me and they want to sit with me. Like the self talk, I think is really critical. I remember when I first started, I used to get people telling me like I didn't send that in, that's not me, and it was happening a lot, but I was expecting that. And so that's what I was getting. So you get what you expect. And so expect that people are going to be courteous to you. Expect that people are going to want you to come to the house. Now you'll still get one or two that'll be mean to you, be rude, and kind of cuss you out. It's rare now because I don't really get that much, but that's because I've grown into it. So know that, hey, when I'm sitting on the phones, I'm booking this appointment within 24 to 48 hours, and people like me. They want to hear from me, and they're expecting for me to give them a call, and they're expecting to book an appointment with me. So that's kind of the attitude that you have when you sit on the phones. And then the other attitude when you're on the phone, when you're booking appointments, is it's a little different than recruiting. When you're booking appointments, you don't want to be super fired up. And I don't want to get too far into because I'm sure we're going to lead to that, Dave. But you almost like the mindset is you're like getting paid minimum wage. You're half pissed off that you have to do this. Like you don't really want to do it, but you got to do it. So when you call them, you're low and slow in the tone, and when you're going through it, so that way, like I say this a lot, but think of yourself as the, and I don't want to put off on anybody who might be a janitor, but I'm gonna use this as an example. But you're the half pissed off janitor. Someone just had diarrhea and it's all over the toilet and you have to clean it up. You would not be fired up about that, right? I got to do this. That's what they're paying me for. So it's kind of like that mindset when you're on the phones and you're booking appointments. It's like, I don't really want to, but I have to. So that's how I approach the phones.
And honestly, like, your attitude is everything, right? And one thing that I've heard you say too, like the pre kind of game, like you do stuff to motivate yourself to get on the phone. What you listen to in the morning, how you wake up. I mean, when I say Marcus is a beast, he's also a beast in the gym. Like he is so consistent. I see him every day at the gym, and I feel like maybe that's a something that you do before you start your day. Same thing. I do the same thing. I listen to positive podcasts, listen to some audio, every morning, so that way I get my head going to attack the phones. All right, buddy. So let's get to the script. All right. If you want, let maybe kind of just do a dial. I can chime in later, but just give us kind of like the rundown on how you would call someone. How would that go for you? And then we can start covering some objections and do some role playing.
Absolutely. And then I do want to say something. You made a statement, and then I'll get into it. But about the routine, the workout, or wake up early, and that kind of thing. Here's what I want to tell people: like, we're creatures of habit, good or bad. And so when you start making appointments, make good habits. But the reason I go to the gym 4 or 5 days a week is because I'm reinforcing the personal belief that I have that I'm a person of discipline. It's not because I love the gym, but I love the way it makes me feel. When I book appointments, it's not because I love booking appointments. I like the result. I like the commission. I like meeting people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So think of it that way when you're on the phones. It's the same thing. So I take that same mindset that I have on the phones into the gym in the morning. And when I wake up in the morning, and I'm a creature of habit, I'm a creature of routine. So get a routine. Print your leads out, have them ready to go. When you're calling, like I got mine right here in front of me. Actually, I was calling before this call. So my activity book is here, my leads are here. I'm getting after it, just focus. And I'm just saying that because you're going to create a routine, and especially if you're brand new, start with good habits, start with a good routine, and really, $35, $40 per hour is what you want to be doing on a regular basis. But start now doing that so that way you can carry that routine, and then that routine will produce results, and then fall in love with the result. You know what I'm saying? Fall in love with the process. That's a better way of saying it, because a lot of times if people aren't getting results, they'll get frustrated. But just think, if I don't put in the process, I don't get to become great. So you can't circumvent greatness without the process. So make sure you're putting in the process. And if yours is gym, reading in the morning, meditation, prayer, whatever it is, get a routine. And the reason I'm saying get a routine is because you're setting your mental picture of how you see yourself. I see myself as someone disciplined. Someone disciplined goes to the gym 4 or 5 days a week. Someone disciplined is on the phones at 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning making phone calls. So that's why I do that, to reiterate it. Let's get into the phone script. You ready? So I'm just going to do final expense, because a lot of leads that we have are final expense. If you want a mortgage protection, we can do that too, but it doesn't change much. For people who are brand new checking this out, we do have some additional training where I'm an hour long just going through the phone stuff on the NAA University. You can go into the video vault, and I know Nick and Dave, they kind of have a thing for legacy life as well. And we've done some training on some of their seminars that we did, I think down in Georgia, that they were going to make that available as well.
Yep.
So get with your manager, have access to that. But there's different areas where you can get training, and hear the phone script and get an actual copy of my phone script. So with the phone script, I try to keep it super simple. And the key that I always like to start with is the tone and the intro. Because someone, when you're making phone calls, they're going to determine whether or not they want to listen to the rest of your phone script within the first 5 to 10 seconds. So when you're calling someone, keep that in mind, and you want to start off low and slow. Okay, low and slow, and you want to speak slow enough so they understand you, but fast enough so they don't talk. It's like a weird science to it, but if you can find that right pace, you'll be able to get through your whole phone script. So the way it goes, okay, is the listen to the intro. So, hey Dave, this is Marcus. I'm getting back to you about this postcard you had sent in requesting some information on the final expense insurance, the one for Colorado residents. Now, Dave, my job is real simple. I'm just a person responsible for getting the information you requested out to you. Dave, are you still over there at 1234 Main Street in Centennial.
Yep.
All right, perfect. Now, Dave, like I said, my job is just to get the information you requested out to you, and they got me over in your area tomorrow doing some deliveries, and I was just checking. What time are you usually home from work tomorrow?
Usually after 5.
Okay. I don't have a 5 o'clock, but is there any reason you wouldn't be home tomorrow about 5:30? I can get the information you requested out to you.
Yeah, that's about the time I get home, around 5:36.
Okay, perfect. Let's do this. Let's say six just to be on the safe side because I know traffic is crazy and I'm coming from across town, so that way we don't miss each other. And then just give me a little window in case I get caught in rush hour, but I'll put you down here for tomorrow at 6. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right,
Thank you.
perfect.
All right.
Perfect.
All right. So Marcus just kind of gave like, and I was kind of going easy on him just for the example, but
I'm glad you're not
um,
Gara. He be on my head.
oh, don't worry, we're gonna go through some objections. I won't be that rough though, man. But yeah, yeah, like Marcus said, the tone is everything in the beginning. I do the same thing that Marcus does. Same tone, same speed. All right, now let's get to some objections, Marcus. All right. One of the big ones, because that I get a lot still, and I would love to hear how you would respond to that, is I already took care of that. So we'll just start with that. Is that cool? From the top.
Yep.
All right,
So
let's go.
you want me to do the phone script or you want me just to handle the objection?
Let's just do the phone script and then we'll handle the objection and then we'll just start at other objections after. Just
Okay,
so
bet.
people can see the flow.
All right. So hey Dave.
Yeah, this is David. Who's this?
Hey David, this is Marcus. David, I was getting back to you about this postcard that you had sent in requesting some information on the final expense insurance, the one for Colorado residents. Now, David, my job is real simple. I'm just a person who gets the information you requested out to you. And they got me doing some deliveries the next few days in your area. Are you still over there at the 1234 Main Street in Centennial?
Yeah, yeah, that's us. That's us.
Okay, perfect. Now, like I said, they got me over there tomorrow doing some deliveries. What time are you usually home from work, David?
Hey, you know what, Marcus? I think I already took care of that. So I don't know if I'd be interested anymore. Uh,
Understandable, understandable. The reason I'm following up, David, is because they put this postcard on my desk, and we just don't have record that we ever got the information you requested out to you. And so, what they want me to do is just bring back that postcard, verify this was you, and then get this file closed out. And then what you do with the information is totally up to you. So, are you normally home at like 5 or is it 7 o'clock work better?
so yeah, so I mean, I should be home. I get off at 5. I should be at 7, but so you're gonna come out again? They're gonna send someone else out again? Because like I said, I think we took care of it.
They do send me out because when they put this on my desk, I'm just kind of like the final person who reviews everything. And then if you already got it, bro, it's not going to take us long at all. I'll just get this closed out really quick. It'll make things even easier for us. So what I'm going to do is put you down here for 7. You said you'd be back by at least 7 o'clock, right?
Yeah, I should be home because I get off at 5 traffic, so we should be done with dinner, so that'll be a good time.
Okay, perfect. So what I'm gonna do is write that down for 7 o'clock tomorrow, and then just write that down and tell the missus about me, so that way you guys don't forget about me. She doesn't get upset when I get there.
Oh, I like that. Okay, I
All right.
will.
And again, my name was Marcus, and I'll see you tomorrow about 7.
All right, my man. All right. Let's jump to another objection. Um and let's do I'm gonna because we get this a lot too. People are like, well, what is it? What did I fill out? And sometimes people just kind of like, and I'm guilty of this in the beginning. I'd be like, yeah, yeah, it's for life insurance, right? So, I there's a way where I handle it, which I'm sure is the way that you handle it. But for those of you guys that are paying attention, pay attention to how Marcus stays in control. One thing I learned from Greco in the beginning is, acknowledge, ignore, move forward, right? And so every time I'm saying, like in that last part, I would say an objection, Marcus would acknowledge it, right? And his response is he responds to it, but it's kind of like ignoring what I asked, right? And then he just moves on and asks a question. And that's how Marcus stays in control because he's asking the question. All right. So let's do another one. I'm gonna act like I don't remember what I filled out. Because some people will get that as well. They don't know whether it's a postcard or something online. You will get that objection too. So let's go.
Hey, Dave.
Yep. Who is this?
Hey, hey, Dave, it's Marcus. Dave, I was getting back to you about this postcard that you had sent in requesting some information on the final expense insurance, the one for Colorado residents.
Which postcard?
Dave, this one looks like you had sent it in to get some information on the final expense insurance for Colorado residents, but let me make sure I got the right Dave. On my postcard, you had wrote your age down here as 53. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's my age.
Okay, perfect. Now, the reason I'm getting back to you, Dave, is I'm just the guy who brings back the postcard, one, so you can see it and remember what it was you sent in. And then two, answer any questions that you may have had about the final expense benefits for Colorado residents. Are you still over there at 1234 Main Street in Centennial, Colorado?
Yeah, yeah, that's my address. I'm still having trouble remembering what I filled out though.
Dave, don't worry about it, bro. I forgot what I ate for breakfast this morning, man. So don't feel bad. A lot of people forget about this. But that's why I'll bring back the postcard and get the information you requested out to you. Quick question. They got me in the area tomorrow doing some deliveries. What time are you usually home from work tomorrow?
So tomorrow's actually my off day, but I'm having trouble, because I don't want you to come out and waste your time because I don't remember what I filled out, Marcus.
No, you don't worry about it, man. My job, like I said, is just to get the information to you, and that's what I get paid to do. So I'm gonna bring that postcard tomorrow. Now you said you're off tomorrow. So is there any reason you wouldn't be there tomorrow about 10 o'clock? I can get the information over to you.
Yeah, I'll be free around 10.
Okay, cool. And just do me a favor, just write that down so you don't forget about me. And again, my name is Marcus, and I'll see you tomorrow around 10.
Ooh, perfect. All right, Marcus. See you tomorrow, I guess, with that paper that I don't remember that I filled out. My man, shoot. But guys, keep in mind, Marcus, like when I train on dialing with my people, I always tell them like you want to like bulldoze over the objection, and I feel like that's Marcus is doing that. He's not like disregarding what I'm saying. He's acknowledging it, and then he answers in a way where it's kind of like making me forget about it. And then he finishes with the question. So he's staying in control. We move forward, but he kept doing that. All right. What are some other objections, Marcus, that you like to train on that you get a lot, being on the phone or training a new agent?
The not interested one, or can you just send it to me? Can't you just put it in the mail kind of thing? So those are main not interested, they just cut you off, or can you just put it in the mailbox, that kind of
Let's
thing. Those are two.
let's do
Like,
let's do a mixture of both. All right. I'll
all
start
right,
off with do you have to come in? Can you just mail it in? So let's go.
all right. Hey Dave.
Yeah. Who's this?
Hey Dave, it's Marcus. Dave, I was getting back to you about this postcard that you had sent in requesting some information on the final expense insurance, the one for Colorado residents. Now, Dave, my job is real simple. I'm just a person who brings back the postcard and gets the information you requested out to you. And they got me in the area the next couple of days doing some deliveries. Dave, are you still over there at 1234 Main Street in Centennial, Colorado?
Yeah, I am, Marcus.
Okay, perfect. And like I said, they got me in the area the next couple of days doing some deliveries. And I was checking to see what time are you usually home from work tomorrow?
So I'm not working at the moment, because I'm retiring early. But do you have to come to my house? Do you have to? Is this something that you can't just mail me something like, because I don't want to waste your time. Like, do you have to come?
I do, Dave. The biggest reason is because it is something that you filled out and it's regulated by the state. So I just got to verify that you are Dave Fleming. And, on my postcard, you have put down here age 53. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yep. So that's why they want me to see you. Just make sure you are who you say you are and then get you the accurate information. Now, I know you said you're getting ready to retire. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
And so, is there any reason you wouldn't be around the house tomorrow about 11 o'clock? I can get the information to you.
I would. Can you just email it to me though, Marcus? I could just give you my email right now.
Like I said, I would love to email it to you, but I do have to verify I'm getting it to the right Dave Fleming. On here, you have put age 53, and then you're over there at 1234 Main Street, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's do this tomorrow at 11. I'll swing by. That way you can see it, and then we'll go through the accurate information specific to you. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds good. But I mean, like, how long is this gonna take? Do you have to come inside? Like, can you just give it to me?
So it doesn't take long at all. I do have to give it to you and see you, and then verify like any other questions that you may have. So as long as you don't have a bunch of questions for me, we should be good. But it won't take that long at all. So I'll put it down here for tomorrow about 11 o'clock. Okay.
Sounds good. Sounds good, Marcus. Take all my money. All right. Uh, Good stuff, bro. I mean, acknowledge, ignore, move forward. Marcus stays in control. Even that last sentence, just by ending, is that okay? Does that sound good? All right, fine. We'll just do it. All right, guys. If you guys are getting some good stuff, drop some emoji hearts, whatever, thumbs up. Real quick, I got one question for Marcus, and then we'll go do some Q&A. So if you have some questions, if you've been dialing, you've got some stuff that maybe you want Marcus to cover or ask him a question, drop it in the Q&A and we'll get to that here in a minute. But I wanted to ask you this, Marcus. Being a veteran in the game, how important is it? We talked about dialing, we talked about the script, the went over some objections, but how important is it to book a full day? Because um, there's agents out there that would dial for today for Saturday. But it's like, can you talk about like how, and you talked about this kind of in the beginning, you want to book the day after, or maybe 2 or 3 days, or 2 days out, 1 or 2 days out. But can you just talk about the importance of stacking these appointments up when you do dial them? That way you're not, just out there running one appointment from one day and your next one isn't till Thursday. Can you just talk about how important it is stacking up your day so you can stay productive?
Yeah, it's really about leveraging your time and what's your time worth, right? Like if you let's just use an example. Let's say you make 100,000 a year, right? And then when you make a sale, the average sale is about 500 to $200 in commission. I think you got to understand what that really means. So if you sit with someone and a sale takes about an hour, let's call it 2 hours just to keep the math simple, and you make $500 on that sale, you just made $250 per hour. So if you know that and you're going to go into the field the next day, if you don't have enough people to see, you're like the dentist, right? Like if there's not any teeth to feel and drill, you're not making the 250 an hour. So if that is the case, what would you do in order to make sure you have the seats full to make sure you make 250 an hour? Another example, another story I like to tell people is imagine this, like Southwest. I love Southwest, right? I fly Southwest a lot. Southwest is going to Dallas tomorrow with or without me on the plane. They're leaving from DIA and they're going to Dallas, Texas with or without me on the plane. But it's Southwest job to market to fill up the seats on the plane. So this is what I tell people, like your schedule. If you're going to be in the field on Tuesday and you're leaving the house, your job is to fill up the seats. Like you got to get enough passengers on those seats to make it make sense for you to leave the house. And then if you don't have enough passengers on the seat, guess what? You're going to be outdoor knocking. That's I'm not a huge fan of it, but I do it, you know what I mean? But that's like Southwest. They rather overbook the seats and then try to put people in others options and give you vouchers and stuff like that because they know that plane, it costs for them to run that plane, so many thousands of dollars. They know that ahead of time. So if you know as a salesperson, you make $500 a pop. So just say you got 4 appointments, that's $2,000. If you have 8 appointments, that's $4,000. So if you're going to leave the house, why wouldn't you get all 8 seats full to give yourself a chance to make the $8,000 that day? And so that's really like the mindset, and the concept is like, hey, I'm leaving anyway. You're $100,000 earner plus. So why would you not spend enough time on the front end filling up the seats as the jet is about to take off? Like that to me only makes sense. And that's the part that even I at this stage have to guard against. Taking phone calls, recruiting stuff. It's like, wait a minute. You're not doing that right now. Right now, you're supposed to be on the phone setting up appointments because your jet is taking off tomorrow. And so guarding your time is also a critical thing that I don't think we talk enough about. But when you have that schedule and you say, hey, I'm making calls from 8 to 12 or 4 to 8 or whatever that is for your schedule, nobody else interrupts that. Nothing else comes in between you doing that because guess what? I'm making $200 an hour, or I'm making $500 an hour. So I need to make sure I'm consistent with the activity that's going to get me those results for the $500 an hour. And I think that's really a mindset shift that it took me for a couple of years to get into, to understand the importance of my time, because my time is money and I can't waste a lot of it, doing those different things.
Right, right. And so, and one thing that I want to point out, and I'm glad that you said it, but you know, you have to be disciplined. And one thing about this business and being an entrepreneur is like, the good thing about being your own boss is you're your own boss. The bad thing about being your own boss is you're your own boss. And if you're not disciplined enough, right, then and create those habits that you were talking about, then your business is going to go right down the drain. It's not going to be productive. So how many appointments would you set up? Like, I know you're a veteran in the game now, but in the beginning, like how many did you set up? You dial today, how many would you set up for the next day? And then the next day, how would you set up your week?
8 and 8. So if I dial a day, then the next day is 8 appointments is a full day for me. And then the next day is 8 appointments. And then we try not to leave the house for anything less than 5. So like your goal is, 8 appointments, right? But your minimum is 5. So that's really kind of how I did it when I was starting in the beginning. And especially if you're brand new, 8 appointments is ideal. But if you only got 20 leads, the odds of you making 8 appointments on your first round of dials is not real good. People aren't going to answer, numbers going to be disconnected. So you got to be realistic. So really, I think if a person has 20 leads, you can get 5 appointments, or you know what I mean. So that's like a realistic goal that I think someone should set when they're first starting is at least 5 appointments to make a full day, and then you go into the field with the 5. But the ideal scenario is 8.
Right. And if you're booking 8, let's say you do a dial session today and you only book 4, all right, for tomorrow, are you having another dial session or are you calling it a day?
No, I call later again. Like the job is not done. We get paid. We don't get paid for putting in time. Like you're an entrepreneur. Like you don't get paid just because you put in 4 hours. You get paid based on results. And the only way you can get results is by filling up the seat or filling up the appointments. So just because you got 4, that's good. But keep in mind you're not done. Like don't let up. You got more, you got overtime, I guess is what I like to call it. Like you're doing OT because you didn't get the results that you needed in order to make sure that you were effective.
Right. And I mean, it just makes sense. Like you want to book your day because I've been in the situation and I'm sure you have, growing in this business where you dial, you book 1 or 2 appointments, but even if like let's say those 2 appointments are 2, 3 hours out, and let's say those two are your no's or your maybes or your no shows, because guys, it's gonna happen. Then your attitude changes. You start shifting like, oh man, I had 2 bad ones. But if you had 8, right, appointments booked for the day, you the chances of you selling high are higher now, because what if you sell 2, you get 2 no-shows, you get 3 maybes, and then the other one's kind of like a weird one, right? I mean, you still sold 2, but you had to book those 8 to sell those 2. It's just a numbers game. And if you can kind of reiterate what I'm about to say, or maybe just speak on your experience since you've been doing this longer, but we tell our agents, you know, your first 40 appointments is basically where you're going to do like a lot of your learning stuff, right? Whether you're doing it online, whether you're doing it over the phone, whether you're, doing the final expense leads, the mailers, but that's where you're going to get a lot of your training, right? That's where you're going to get the what's it called? That's where you're going to get a lot of the experience. I'm sorry that I'm trying to say experience in doing this business and becoming, a veteran in the game. But you have to do the 40. Now the question is, how fast are you going to do those 40, right? Because if Marcus does it in a span of 2 weeks, those 40 appointments, versus me doing it in a span of 2 months, right? Marcus is probably going to be more motivated because he knocked those out in those 2 weeks. And not only that, but he's also making money in those 2 weeks because he's going to sell some of them while he's learning, versus me taking 2 months to do 40 appointments, dragging my feet, making a commission here 1 week. 2 weeks later, I'll make another one because I'm just slowly booking those first 40 appointments. Can you just real quick talk about, like, in the beginning as a new agent, how important it is to get those first appointments out of the way booked to get that experience and becoming a veteran like yourself?
Absolutely. And the biggest thing I think Aseta said it at NatCon, slow sucks, fast is better. It's selling, building a business, whatever you're doing, right? And then I've heard Andy say it like this. He says, we both make $1 million, Marcus. I just make mine a lot faster.
Mm.
Like it took you 4 years to make 1 million. I made it in, half a month. You know what I mean? Like, so those are that's the mindset though. But really, here's what you got to understand. Everyone has a learning curve. I don't care if you've done sales before and been the top salesperson at your other jobs. What we do is different. How we do it is different. And so, do you want your learning curve, like what Dave was saying, to take you 2 months, or do you want it to take you 2 weeks? Because it's gonna be about 40 appointments. So, knowing that, just here's what I call it. We call this at the gym. Embrace the suck. Like it sucks. It sucks. Just embrace it though. Like it is what it is going to be. What it's going to be. You're going to have to go to 40 people's houses before you get good and get comfortable. You're going to have to talk to 40 people on the phone, sales presentations before you know, oh, okay, here's how we want to ask for the social. Oh, okay, here's how we want to verify the address when setting up the appointment. Oh, okay, here's how we want to ask questions to stay in control of the phone call. Because there were some things that I wanted to go back and teach on just real quick if I can.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
But on the phone script, if I don't do my 40 appointments right on the phone script, you don't learn stuff like this. But there's things that you have to know. We talked about the intro, but you notice how I said, "Hey, Dave." I didn't say, "Is this Dave?" This is where a lot of people miss it when they first start. They'll call them and they'll see a lead on there and they say, "Is this Dave?" No, that's what telemarketers say. So you want to make sure you're like, "Hey, Dave," or just Dave, right? And get right into it. Or David. Like if I know he goes by Dave, so I call him Dave. But if on the lead is David, I'm gonna call him David unless I hear his voicemail and his voicemail says Dave. Does that make sense? Because I want them to think that I'm like them. I want them to think that I'm a friend. So when they answer the phone, they're almost like, "Do I know this guy?" Right? That's key. And then as you're going through it, whenever you get an objection, so there was one on there where he was like, "I don't really remember it." I said, "Well, let me make sure I got the right Dave." You put down here age 53. Whoever asked the questions is in control. So questions. You have most of their information. You have their age on there, you have their phone number on there, and you have their address, right? Those are three different things that you can verify to ask questions, and you can even ask about the spouse if they have spouse information. So those are four different questions you can ask to stay in control of the phone call. You can also ask a question about the appointment. What time are you normally home from work? Are you working or retired? These are questions that keep you in control because when a person is growing up, as kids and we're little, they teach us to ask a question. And when someone asks you a question, you answer the question. Or if you don't answer it, it's rude, it's disrespectful. So our clients, when we're on the phone, they don't know that. But if we teach you this right now, and then we say, "All right, Dave, it's going to take you 40 contacts to get that done. Do you want to do the 40 contacts over 2 months, or do you want to do 40 contacts honestly in like a week?" It's going to take you 40.
Right.
So which one? So what do you want to do? And now the ball is in your court. And this is what separates the good from the great. The
Mm-hmm.
great are ambitious and they say, "You know what, bro? If it's going to take me 40, I want to do my 40 in like 2 days. Forget a week. Like, how can I get it done in like 2 days?" Okay, you're going to have to probably make like 600 phone calls,
Right.
right? The good people, you know what? I think I'll do the 2 weeks. But the cool thing about our business is you can get on whatever train you want to get on. You can get on the slow train, you can get on the fast train, you can be great, you can be good, you can be average, but that's what I love about this business, Dave. It's totally up to us.
Right.
So if I want to be great in this business, you have people like myself, you, Gara, Greco, Terry Edwards, Bell Krauses of the world that are going to be teaching you how to be great. And then the question that you have to ask yourself is, can I take this knowledge and this information and apply it in such a way that I can excel in my learning and be great? And that was the acronym that I gave over at NatCon Life, LIFE. If you haven't listened to the talk, they're up on NAA University now. But that's really what you want to do is get into a place where you learn, implement, fail, and then evaluate. Hurry up and do it though. Like don't take 2 months. You can do it in 2 weeks. You can do it in a week. You can do it in 2 days. But hurry up.
Fast is fun, slow sucks. And honestly, like one of our big one of our top stars, I gotta give her a shout out, Jessica Ramusin. That girl, when she's been on all the calls, and literally I feel like she knocked out her first couple like learning appointments within like her first couple weeks. And that's why now she's always in the top of our group leaderboards. Like that girl's killing it. So shout out to her. But she applied all of that, did it quick, knocked out the training meetings, all that stuff. And then eventually, she's always in the top 10 for the month. So, all right, Marcus, this is some good stuff, brother. Real quick, let's see. We got a couple Q&A stuff. Is there an alternative to printing out leads, other way to make notes or important info, maybe digitally to keep track calls and details?
Yes, Janet, there is. You can do it on the lead thing. We got the lead map, the lead site up now. It was down for a while. We just got it like last week, but you can go in and on the lead site now, the Alliance leads, Alliance lead page, and you can type in keep notes in there, and you can put booked, sold, sat, or whatever. It's all in there. You can just click it and keep going, and then there's a place to type in notes. Here's the problem with that though, Janet, is like when you do that, it slows you down.
Hmm.
And that's just me. And if you're like me, maybe you're not like me, but I get distracted. I'm on my computer. I want to check my email. If something comes over to me about a case that I submitted, I'll stop and look at that. My assistant sends me email, I check that, or getting off in La La Land, I don't feel like home, so I might check Facebook and see what Fleming's got going on. What's his next trip? He's going with his boo. Look on his dogs or all that. We all do it, right? And so so
Cookie.
I try to stay off my computer and eliminate the distractions just because I know myself.
Right.
I'm gonna, like while I'm on my computer dialing leads, I'm gonna look at other stuff. I just know myself, and most people are like me, so that's why I print
Yo, Marcus, you there? Marcus, still showing that we're recording. Yo, Marcus. Can you guys still hear me? Let's see. Yeah. Oh, crap. I think we dropped him. Yeah. Thanks, Mal. Let me go ahead and text him real quick. Marcus over there dropping some nuggets. Hold on. Sorry, guys. We're having some technical difficulties. We're almost wrapped up with the call. While he jumps in, let me just answer some of these. Um, Maybe a weird question, but do people dial? But do people dial while driving? I say no. Don't do that. You want to find a place where you can stay focused, like Marcus was saying. So I wouldn't dial while you're driving. That's just nothing I would do. Especially if you're new, you probably want the script in front of you. Even till this day, I've been doing this for 2.5 years. I still have the script in front of me all the time, because I get easily distracted. Sometimes there might be something happening, and I just if I get lost on the call, then I just go back to my script. All right, Nick, I don't know if you're there, but he said he's trying to jump back in. Okay. Do you ever text people on your info and for that appointment time? No, I don't. I don't ever text people my info. I just get it right away, or I give them my info over the phone with the script that I use, basic info, and then we move on to the next one. Uh, okay, Marcus, you there? Hold on.
All right, can you hear me, Dave?
Yep, I got you loud and clear, bud.
Yeah, my desktop at the office is tripping, bro. But I'm back.
No, you're good, man. I just finished answering some of these other questions while you jumped on. Um, I don't know if you want to. There's one question on there asking if they can get your contact info. I don't know if you what contact info you want to give them, but if you want, go ahead and give them whatever contact info you want, brother.
Yeah, so my number is 720-620-5006. And then the email is richgroup28@gmail.com.
All right, thanks, brother. And then it says, do you usually share your script with the group? Where can they find your script if they want to use yours, Marcus?
Yeah, NAA University. So if you go to the NAA University, you type in, go to the video vault. So on top left, you'll see a thing that says video vault. Click that, type in my name, and then there's a phone presentation that I did that was the hour long I was talking about earlier. And in that phone training, it's how to book more appointments. That's the name of the video. At the bottom, there's a link that says Marcus's phone script. So it's super simple. It's right there at your fingertips. You can have it. You can save it to your computer. You can print it, but that's the phone script. And let me just say this too, because I did this when I first started. There was different people training on phones and stuff, Dave, and I would always change my phone script. Like, oh, theirs is better. They're selling 20,000 a month, and I'm only selling 5,000 a month. It's not really the phone script. Let me just say that one more time. It's not necessarily what you say, but how you say it, and then putting in the necessary activity to make yourself successful. So, yes, my phone script is there, but it's how I say the phone script, if that makes sense. It's the staying in control, the tonations, hey, Dave, as opposed to is this David? All that stuff is important. Okay. So that's the situation there.
Perfect, brother. Perfect. All right. So I think we covered a lot. We're almost about the hour. So want to first thank you, Marcus, for jumping on and allowing us to listen to you train on this, because this is perfect, man. A lot of veterans like myself took some nuggets, took some notes right here, and I know a lot of new agents that are getting started. You added a lot of value, bro. Before we wrap up, though, um, there is an event coming in a couple of weeks. All right, about a month and some change. And I know that last year you went to your first view, and it was actually here in Denver, and that's the view that we have. Well, that's the event that we have called the View from the Edge with Marcus Setta. Can you kind of just really quick, and then I'll chime in at the end, and we'll wrap it up. tell me your experience about your first event that you went to. I'm sorry, your first view from the edge that you went to with Marcus Setta, and why it's important for, an agent, not just a new agent, but just an agent that wants to succeed to be at an event, especially the view.
Yeah, so the first one that I went to was last year in April, like you said. And I want to say it allows you to learn, but it puts a different spin on it. So like when you think, there's one a passage that I love. It just talks about, it says, Lord, help me to number my days, right? Because it says those people who know that they're gonna die, right? They tend to work a little bit harder because they're thinking about, hey, I know that I'm not gonna be here forever. And he did a presentation of the guy in the deathbed, and I knew, you know what I'm saying, like I knew that, but seeing it that way put it in a whole different perspective for me, you know what I mean? And so it just makes you think. It's entertaining and it's educational and it's so impactful, right? There's one about Neo, like I am the one, right? And so there's these different skits that's saying what you've been reading, it's saying what you've been hearing from your mentors, it's saying what you've been hearing at these different meetings, but it just puts it in an entertaining way where you're able to be entertained and learn and still have it stick with you. So that's one of the biggest reasons I think you should come to the View. And here's the good news: if you went to one last year, he said he's only have a one repeat character out of like 15, 16 presentations. So that to me is also going to be big. So there's new stuff that I'm going to see. And then the third reason is I personally believe in self development. You're never going to out earn your self image, and you only can increase your self image a couple ways. But getting around people is one of the ways that you increase your self image. Getting around other people who are making the kind of money like Greco, Dave, Guerra, myself, the Megan Woods of the world, the Andy Albrights of the world, the Mike and Lowell Evantoviches, they're going to be able to see things from a different perspective that you can't see, and they'll be able to stretch you. And there's a statement that I've heard said is, if you take your five closest friends and you see what they make and you divide that, your average is going to be about what theirs is. So knowing that, I can choose my five friends, get in the circle of people at the View who I know are making multiple six figures, and I can increase my income. So we've done that every year for the last 12 years, and our income has increased exponentially. So those are a few reasons why I think people should go. But I just believe in getting better. You only got one turn at this. To be the best version of yourself, you got to get around people who can stretch you. And if you're the smartest one in the room, you're in the wrong room.
I agree 100%, brother. Thank you so much for jumping on. And Marcus is spot on about the View, guys. Marcus Setta is, we brought him, Andy Albright brought him over, and Marcus knows Andy Albright more than, us that have been in the business for like 2.5 years. And I feel like a lot of people, it says a lot for Andy Albright to bring someone, right, from a different industry and somewhat, because a lot of his training was in network marketing, into the alliance, right? And him make the impact that he has, because I feel like so many of the top leaders are now just learning so much of the stuff that Marcus Setta has been teaching us. And I just, this is my 11th view that I've probably that I'm going to, and I still keep going because Mark has new characters. There's always something that I learn in each view from the edge that I go to. And here's what's crazy is that some of you guys are thinking, oh, another seminar, another hoorah session. No, this is basically Marcus Setta. He's created kind of something called edutainment, where he's educating you and entertaining you at the same time. Like Marcus said, there's some characters that are going to be on there, but every character has a message, whether it's with the business or personal development. But it's going to be something that's going to help you grow as a leader and as a person. So if you haven't been to the event, go. If you've been to the event, go. Because like Marcus said, there's going to be new characters and you're going to always learn something. And not only that, but a lot of the top leaders are going to be training also. So within, some breaks of the characters, you're going to have a top producer, a top recruiter that's going to train on a specific topic, nuts and bolts on this business. Nick Greco is actually going to be one of the speakers. And, he happens to be the guy that started this whole legacy life journey for us. So make sure you get registered. It's going to be April 12th through the 14th. It's going to be in Raleigh, North Carolina. View from the Edge. A lot of us are going. We're getting a promo together for the team. It's going to be a lot of fun, but make sure you get registered. And not only that, but they're also going to be giving, if it's your first event, and if it's a repeated event or you've gone to an event before, but you also get points to Cabo, for producing. That's the team trip next year. The team trip this year is Alaska that a lot of us qualified for, but you can get a new or a ticket if you're a brand new agent, and I believe it's like 50,000 points to go. I don't know if Marcus you're still on or not, but
No, I'm here.
okay. How much is it? How much points does a new person get? Is it 50 with
Yeah.
Cabo?
Oh wait, if they've never been to an event, this one's actually giving them 100,000. So if this is their first event, they're gonna get 100,000.
So it's
If
like,
they've
why
never
wouldn't
been,
you go? Just for that, like go get your points, qualify for Cabo, and come with us because Marcus has been on a bunch of alliance trips, right? And correct me if I'm wrong, everything is paid for.
everything is paid for, bro.
Everything is paid for, and I'll take a free vacation over a paid, vacation I got to pay for myself. So, get your points, get registered to the View, get with your managers. There might be some discounted tickets floating around, but if not, go to the Arc under events, purchase your ticket, post it on the group chat. Let's get you there because you'll get to meet Marcus face to face if you're not in Denver. A lot of the top leaders will be there. You surround yourself with success, you become successful. So, Marcus, thank you so much for jumping on the team call. You are always playing team, bro, and I appreciate you, bro.
Thank you for having me, man. Appreciate you.
I'll see you at the gym tomorrow.
You got it, bro.
All right. See you
All right.
guys next
Later.
Monday, 11 o'clock.